from the second you get off like that plane and get on that bus, every second of your time on Paris Island, you have something to do. It's like unreal.
This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
No, not really. Nothing really sticks out.
What kind of kid? Tell me what kind of kid you are.
Oh man, talkative. I was talkative. And,
believe it or not.
yeah,
He hasn't shut up since he walked in the door.
oh man, thanks a lot, Mike. But no, literally, I was always like, trying to make jokes. I was a joke. Like my desk was up near the teacher's desk. My whole. I'm not kidding. I'd have to earn stickers to go back with the class, and I remember that home phone ringing like many times from the teachers calling home like, oh yeah, Michael was a little bit disruptive. Disruptive was a word I heard often in middle school, but and in elementary school. I've always been optimistic, upbeat, energetic, and after the tragedy that I've gone through and overcome, it's just kind of been magnified even a little bit more, just because I appreciate everything in life a little bit more now.
It's funny how tragedy and trauma can bring out things that you didn't even know existed.
It's like on the ride down here, I'm just looking over left, right, like being able to like get a coffee and drive down here. It's just like
looking at the garbage on the side of the roads. Is that what you're doing in New Jersey?
I actually work for the Department of Transportation in Connecticut, and I was noticing that you guys need a little bit of trash picking up over here.
New Jersey, yes, in many ways than just the garbage on the road.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I could name some people.
So yeah, I grew up playing sports, loved sports, being outside, and just had a regular life, and realized at an early age I wanted to join the United States Marine Corps. My dad was a Marine. I was fourth generation military in my family, and that's all I ever wanted to do. In high school, I just focused on that.
You weren't one of those Hollywood Marines, were you?
Nah, man.
So
I get a picture. Come on, he was the poster child for
no. So with Marines, and one of my better friends, he was an older Marine. He was in DR during that conflict.
Yeah.
Shows you his age, shows you how old he was before he passed. But he schooled me on all things Marines, and anybody who went to San Diego, they were called Hollywood Marines, like what a Mustang is, and I knew all that stuff.
Yeah. So everyone on the east side of the Mississippi River goes to Paris Island. Everyone on the west side of the Mississippi River goes to San Diego, and and as I went into like the Marine Corps, and you did kind of notice a little bit of button heads, like, oh, you're from San Diego, and no, you're from Paris Island. Yeah, I mean they don't have sand fleas in San Diego. And
so who was a Hollywood Marine? This is going to shock you. Is Arlie Ermy.
Oh yeah,
he was a Hollywood Marine. Yep, and he was a DI in San Diego.
Wow.
But I drove right past the San Diego Bay. I spent some time in San Diego.
21 palms.
29 pounds.
29 pounds.
That's a couple hours outside of it's out in this. It's in the desert. I think it's a couple I want to say a couple hours outside of San Diego. But yeah, 29 palms. That's like a pit. Yeah, there's nothing to do out there.
If you ever been down to the Paris Island area, especially in summertime, and then go to San Diego in the summertime, two vastly different landscapes.
Yeah,
vastly different. But I don't know. Maybe he kind of got screwed because I heard about the big Lejeune lawsuits.
The
water down there.
So like I have a good friend of mine. I'm gonna bring his name up. He's like an awesome dude. He was a Marine as well, old timer Marine. Lenny King, and he's an old timer. We have a close relationship, and he I remember he made the phone call. He's like, yeah, man, they I guess he's eligible for all that stuff now, and I mean he was back in a long time ago.
I get all the emails because I did try to join the Marines. Unfortunately, I had too many knee surgeries, and they're like, no, you're good. Which is good because I would have went to the Gulf. It would have.
I tried to join the Marines too, and my mother said no.
Yeah,
so I didn't do it.
Yeah,
oh man, I've said this on air before. When my grandfather was in World War II, he kicked the shit out of me when he found out I tried to enlist. He's like, "What is the matter with you? You're smart. You go to college. You don't go to the military."
Yeah,
because he really had a dislike for officers more than anything else.
My dad didn't tell me that until after the Marines. He's like, "Don't be like me. Like hammer and nails, go to school and get But they weren't arguing about me going into the Marines in high school because I needed to get a little bit of discipline and go up a
I
little
could
bit.
have used that discipline too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
think we all can.
yeah.
I still probably could go back to boot camp right now and learn a few things.
Give me some more discipline.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you joined the Marines.
Yeah.
Right out of high school, or
So 17 years old. I joined early. I told my parents, I'm like, I want to be a Marine. They're like, oh, great. That's the best idea you've ever had. Yeah. Like, let's go to the recruiters like right now.
do you need a ride?
I wasn't like, it might have been 16 or 17. It was right around that time. So like, yeah, I think we left dinner early even. And we went to the recruiter's office.
Check, please.
He's yours now.
So I met with one guy and we kind of butted heads. I'll never forget his name, Gunnery Sergeant Yateman. And we just butted heads. Like he wanted me to be like in like food service and stuff. Like I'm like, man, I'm all good with that, man. I'm not looking at a 100-gallon pot of like mashed potatoes and shit. I'm all set with that. So I felt forced into the job that he wanted me to have. So I'm like, I'm not going to see that guy again. Like I'm not talking to him again. Yeah. So we ended up going to another guy, and I signed up. Signed up then and there, went up to Springfield, Massachusetts, passed the physical and everything like that.
The ASVAB test and all that?
Oh, yeah. I did pretty well on the ASVABs. I picked the job. I was in aviation operations specialist, 7041 aviation operations specialist, which is like crew chief of Cobra helicopters and stuff like that. So, which is pretty cool. And so here I am enlisted, my senior year of high school. I'm playing football. I dislocate my shoulder my senior year of football. And like you said, Kevin, if you have a joint injury and you've already enlisted in the Marines, you're automatically disqualified. So here I am. All I knew was to be a Marine my whole entire life. I wanted to, like serve my country, and devastated. One football injury. I had to have surgery. Like I have like a rotator cuff surgery over here, and got disqualified from the Marine Corps. Had an amazing surgeon, followed my physical therapy, to a T, and ended up forwarding my paperwork up to headquarters of Marine Corps and get reapproved to get back in the Marine Corps. And it's still pretty amazing.
It had to be devastating when they told you couldn't go in now.
I thought I was disqualified for good. And I don't think I was cut out for college back when I was 19 years old.
But it's sort of
57. I'm still not cut out for college.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you, though, if you want something bad enough, you're going to do everything you can to get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it, that's because you didn't want it bad enough.
That's a good point. Yeah. I think I was on one like failure. It was like when you guys had a question or whatever on one of your earlier podcasts a few months ago, or whatever, and like failure is one of the biggest reasons to push me. I'm afraid of failure, and that was one of them.
I've actually come to embrace failure now.
Well, I think it was a question.
Social media question.
Yeah, social media question. What are you afraid of?
Yeah, I remember I wrote in on the bottom, like I'm afraid of failure, and
that's right. It was on Instagram Live.
Yeah,
that's right.
And that kind of like brings that to my mind. I didn't want to fail. I had an injury and I had to overcome it. And,
what kind of wake up call was Paris Island for?
Oh man, I still remember quite a bit of it. It's pretty amazing. It's like it still baffles my mind how when I got off the airport, they had Marines that knew like who we were. Like I'm like, we're in a corner of an airport, we're getting yelled at and screamed at. I'm like, what the? I'm like, where? Like I don't have a sign on my forehead that's like, hey, I'm headed to Paris Island. But like these drill instructors, I'm not kidding you. It is so true. From the second you get off like that plane and get on that bus, every second of your time on Paris Island, you have something to do. It's like unreal. I kind of enjoyed it. I loved being, an athlete and physical activity. And I saw some people, I'm like, what the heck, man? You can't do 20 damn pull-ups. I'm like, Jesus. But I enjoyed it. And it was pretty. You become a man down in Paris Island, that's for damn sure. There's not much that is I'm afraid of, and they take you out of high school and turn you into a man.
I think the world would be a better place if we all had to go to some sort of armed service branch.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to sign up for the Space Force because I hear they're taking older people.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Coast Guard.
Well, my uncle started in the Navy, went to Vietnam, and then transferred to the Coast Guard. He had the best job I ever saw in my life.
Yeah.
So he was the highest you could get as an enlisted man, but he was captain of the boat.
Yep.
and all they did was drive pilings up and down the shore.
Yeah.
Spent most of his time. It lives in Hawaii now. Spent most of his time in Hawaii. He took me on the boat a couple times when they were docked in the Atlantic City Marina, and everybody calls him Cap. The boat was immaculate. I mean, I was like, wow, this is really cool
You
stuff.
know, a lot of active cops are doing that now. They're joining like Coast Guard Reserve.
Oh,
You know, they do it 1 week in a month and 2 weeks, and they get a pension out of that too now.
Yeah.
One of my best speaking engagements, now you bring that up, Coast Guard Academy is right up in my neck of the woods. It's in New London, Connecticut. Connected with a couple people. One of the guys, awesome dude, Eric Murray. He's like one of my mentors. Retired state police officer. Dude's one awesome dude. Does a lot of leadership training. Him and I connected, and I'm like, man, I need to meet with you. And this was right when I was becoming a speaker and going out and talking. And military bases military bases is my favorite place to speak. As soon as I, show that picture with me in dress blues and I'm talking at any military base, that earns instant credibility with them. Because like when you're in the military and you like come into like some training and some dude that's a civilian's like telling you how to do it, I'm like, dude, man, get out of here. Like you have no idea what it is. Yeah. So I love being able to speak at military bases because I just know the lifestyle of military, soldiers and what we do. So
because you can relate.
100%.
Yeah.
So I spoke at the Coast Guard Academy, and one of the gifts they gave me, this is like something that sticks in my mind, was the Coast Guard training vessel. It's like this little training vessel. They had it in a box or whatever. So here I am, a Marine. I get a gift from the Coast Guard Academy after I spoke, and it was like over like 1,500 cadets in the audience, and they all like went crazy when they saw me get their training vessel. And I still have that thing right on like one of my like prized possessions that I own, gifts from the military base that I speak at. So yeah, I enjoy speaking at the Coast Guard Academy.
Well, the eyes are always on, like if you're going to go to an academy, a military academy, the eyes are always on West Point or Annapolis.
Yeah.
They're all, but people forget
Air
Force Academy, Coast Guard Academy,
Yeah.
Merchant Marine Academy,
Yeah.
and plus all the other military academies. You can't overlook them because you're still getting a high class education.
Prestigious. It is prestigious over there at the Coast Guard Academy. It is beautiful, beautiful area over there.
And plus it's government funded.
Yeah, exactly.
When it's government funded, usually stuff's pretty good. It's either crap or it's really good.
Yeah.
I wish I would have known about that 40 years ago when I was graduating high school.
Yeah, we didn't really get the best barracks when we were going to the rifle range back in Louisiana.
What barracks were you in?
1st Battalion.
1st Battalion.
I still remember my laundry number and my platoon number.
Wasn't
1045.
4th Battalion the Quonset hut?
That's the female. That's the female.
That was the female one.
Females 4th.
Then they changed it because that was always like the shit.
No, there's 4 women. I don't know the history of all like.
We're talking the 60s,
Yeah, so I know the 4th Battalion's women. So I was 1st Battalion, Delta Company, 1045, platoon 1045. I still remember all my drill instructors. It's like crazy. It's like, how do I even remember that?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like
to some extent, you remember all your drills in the police academy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they used to mess with me quite a bit. And actually, I was just speaking about it the other day because UConn just won the national championship, and here I am, a diehard UConn fan. So they see this is like I'm getting letters in the mail. My dad's letting me know to march. I was in boot camp during March Madness, and he was telling me when they won. Yeah. And this is the year they upset Duke and ended up beating Mateen Cleaves, Michigan State in the 1999 championship. And my drill instructor was a Duke fan. So I woke up the next morning and they call it the quarterdeck. And I'm getting smoked on the quarterdeck. And I had a smile on my face, and he even smoked me more. And he knew, and he knew I knew why I was so that was when UConn beat Duke the next morning. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. I was just thinking about that the other day.
To a lesser degree, like I understand the military training, especially Marines, because my drill was Force Recon Marine.
Yeah.
And he was about as serious as a heart attack. And he was about 5'2". Scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, like scared the shit out of me. But that motherfucker could stay in the lean and rest for days. He reminds me a lot of you, but you tower over top of him. I mean, you tower over top of him.
There's about 10 people in the world that I tower over.
And this son of a bitch smoked like a chimney, could still run just almost a sub 5 minute mile.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck, man? You guys, he was like a machine.
Yeah.
But everything was serious. Never pointed at you.
Yeah.
It was always the chop.
Mm-hmm.
It was always this. And then, we used to make fun of him at the end of it.
It's just the mentality of a Marine is to not to fail and not to give up, no matter what. It's, that's instilled in you. And, if I'm not if I'm not the best at something, I'm going to give it my all at it. And that's,
Well, you always work on the stuff that you're not the best at.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get better at everything.
yeah,
break it down to build you up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Paris on, like I look back, it was like pretty crazy looking back on it. It's, yeah, it was quite an experience.
Cracks me up how he smirks every time he brings up Parasite. He's got a smile on
There's
his
a few,
face.
there's a few stories.
No, there's some stories that he's
Oh man, like I'm telling you, man, there's a couple stories. I'm like, holy shit, you know, just pretty crazy. Yeah, we were leaving for the cruise, but I'll tell a story. It's like one of the funny. So you see me smirk, you know, you notice that, Mike. It's hard for me to hide my smirk, even in Paris Island in South Carolina. So we're waking up,
which probably got you in a lot of trouble too.
I'm about to get into one of them right now. So when you first get there, you're treated like shit. Like you're below dirt. You know,
whale
like,
shit.
Yeah, you're not even like a human being.
What year is this? I just want to know.
This is 1999.
Oh, so you're like a private pile situation.
Right around that time, yeah, a little. So like, you know, we're like nothing. I mean, I saw guys try committing suicide, and here I am, 19 years old, straight out of a small town, and I'm like, holy shit, you know this, and like there wasn't much diversity in my town in high school, and you know, like all this was new to me, and here I am, I'm like, holy shit, I'm about to graduate. We have the crucible. It's 72 hours.
72 hours.
No food, no water, you know, and we're like, we call it humping. It's hiking. So we were like humping miles and miles with our pack. So we'll wake up at like 3 a.m. to take off. And this is the last test. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm being a Marine. And we got a banana. Like, I'll never forget it. Like, we get a banana, and like, we don't get that shit on the regular. Like, you barely have time to eat in the chow hall. Like, barely. So we get a banana, and I'm like having a smirk on my face. And I'll never forget it. Staff Sergeant Hirschman, my senior drill instructor, he's like the god. He's a senior drill instructor, Staff Sergeant Hirschman. He saw me with a smile on my face. He jacked me up against my bed, like against my bunk beds, and smeared the banana all over my face. And I'm like, oh my! I mean, he lifted me like off the ground, and yeah, and that smirk got me in trouble that day. And I didn't get to enjoy the banana like everybody else did. But yeah, no.
Did you ever get deployed?